I need this. Need this. We're gonna need some snips. Well, hello there, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Dan, welcome to be number one. Look at you. Overachieving. Hey. Everything's set up this week, so yay. Hey, Jim. Wait for a few minutes, just let a couple people to join in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm doing good right now. Internet may hold steady today, let's hope. Wolfgang, how we doing? Hey, Brandon. Yeah, I want to make sure audio worked, everything like that, but 2 minutes early isn't too bad, right? I don't know. You guys have to keep an eye on my audio because my receiver died already, so I replaced that, and my transmitter hopefully stays there. Hey, Aaron, how we doing tonight? Oh, you can insert ads? What does this do? Oh, I guess when you watch this back, I can just click the button on here and it inserts an ad. That's interesting. Vince, what's up, buddy? Minimize that now. 3x here. All right. So tonight is fun and exciting because Jim Sellers, who is in the comments, went ahead and gave me some monies, and I was able to buy this Meanwell 12-volt PSU. This is a 12-volt, 8.5 amps. Yes. Input is 110, 240. So it is automatic switching, which is really nice. You don't have to flick a little switch, doesn't seem like in here. So automatic switching and 12-volt, 8.5 amps. Now this is going to take the place of these block down converters I have here. So I have one down converter here. I have another one here. And I've got this big one right here, which controls all the LEDs on the BLV. And again, like this is going to replace all that, which is fantastic. Very happy for that. Craig just got an ad. Okay, well, that's what that button does. 3D Obsession, welcome, welcome. So yeah, I am super excited to get this installed. So what we are going to do is talk through the wiring. And I like to kind of talk it out loud because a lot of the times I might mess something up or be mistaken. And that's also why it's really nice to do these live, because I have input from all of you guys to be like, whoa, 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 Shane, that's a stupid idea. Don't do that. Let's talk about it. So, well, Brandon, this was monies. And Brandon has a very cool thing coming my way. So Brandon, who is one of the longtime patrons of Mod, sent me a Hermera to use for something. I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. Maybe I'll build a Bear Mara or something like that, but that is coming too, which is pretty cool. All right, so the wiring on this again. So let's switch the cameras. We'll talk through this here and kind of go from there. So let's go here. Let's go this way a little bit. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right, now you guys can see everything. Yes, wiring's a mess right now because obviously nothing is like where it should be or how it should be yet. So we have 24 volt, 500 watt power supply feeding an SKR 1.3. Now coming off of that, I have several different things. So my hot end fan, I elected for a 12 volt fan. So we can definitely run this directly off of this power supply, no problem, because that is coming straight off right here from the power supply, which is feeding that. Now this is also feeding, and that makes this to be always on. I picked this to be always on. You can set it up under the E1, because E0 is your extruder. You can set up as E1, and that way, anytime your heater goes up, your hot end goes above 50C, that fan will then turn on, because otherwise it doesn't need to be on. And I still could do that, but I would need to use a 24-volt fan. I cannot find a good quality 40mm 24-volt fan. I have not found one yet. There are the ones that are out there are like stupid expensive, and I'm not spending like $15 on a fan. It's just not going to happen. Where these are like $3 a fan. So right now, that's how I have that wired. So this can come directly off of there, and then this 12-volt right here. So here's the fan. This one is going into optocoupler in order to run that off of 12 volts. I think Aaron said before that he thinks you can run this off 24. I've only seen documentation of 12 volts, and I don't want to blow it. So we're going to run power. Instead of coming from this DC to DC converter, we're going to get power for both of these devices from our little supply here. So that will eliminate that one. I have another one down here, which is again coming straight off the power supply. And this is just feeding this, I believe this is an 80mm fan or a 92mm fan. It's an old power. It's a 80mm fan. This is an old PC cooling fan that I've had for many, many years and runs off of 12 volts. Now what this is doing is this is drawing air up through here and blowing directly onto my board, giving it a ton of cooling. And sorry, these are kind of in the way there. We haven't really found a good way to route these cables yet, but that's where we are right now. So this is providing a ton of cooling for the chamber. It's helping pull air through it because again, this will, so this is, excuse me, oi. Oh, sorry about that. So this clear acrylic piece is going to be replaced with a piece of black, like PVC type of backing. So that's going to replace this. We have another sheet that goes right here as well, and it will sit on the outside, and it just will be on the outside of my spool holder here. I modified this from an existing one to be just flush or just shy of the outside of this 2040 extrusion. So this panel will cover all this up. So this fan is going to draw air from the bottom up through and out. It's also right next to the power supply fan, so this will also still get some nice cool air coming from down below and work its way up. We did find out in the last stream for this that this fan had come loose. Well, actually, the fan, it's only held on by magnets because it's that's called a dual ball bearing fan. It's only held on by magnets. That actually had came loose, so I was able to take this whole apart, refix that fan, and now this thing is properly cooling because it was getting like wicked hot. So if you're ever having issues where your printer is just turning off, make sure your fan's actually working. This is thermally controlled, so it spins up higher the hotter the power supply goes. This is like a higher end cheap one. It's not a mean well, but it actually does pretty good because this fan is PWM based on temperature. That's what you want. You don't want one that's always on, kind of like what's on like an Ender or something like that. Those ones just all always on full blast. Let's see here. So we'll be able to get rid of that one. And then again, finally, I told you guys about this one. So this is the one for all of the LEDs. I've got some nice thick wire going on there because those are pulling, I think they're pulling right around 3 amps. And it was just too much for one of these little ones that I felt comfortable with. These max at 3 amps normally is 2 amps, like normal functioning amperage. But this thing is rated up to like 15 or something like that. It's rated pretty high. It's not as high as this one, but actually maybe it's not. Maybe this one's only like 5. Either way, this one's stronger than those little cheap $1 DC to DC converters that you normally have. So we're going to replace this as well with this, as all my LEDs are 24 volt. I don't know if they make 24 volt LED strips. They make 5 and they make 12. That's all I really know of. So yeah, that's going to, and this is going to replace this right here. So something like that. And everything will tie into here. I do need to make another set of leads coming off of here. So that's probably going to be first, is we're going to have to remove this IEC switch and add another set of leads to go to here. Or I could just solder in, I could just cut this and solder some in. Maybe. I don't know. I might just do that because that might be easier just to solder these in. I could crimp them too. I do have crimps, like actual wire crimps. That should work. Let me get those down now. And then this also has my spade connectors. We're gonna need spades as well, or with forks. I actually never knew the real name of those. But we've got our big old connector kit here. And I do have some inline. So these are double crimps. So you put both your wires in and then you give it a crimp and that joins them together like that. That is my smallest gauge, is the red ones. These yellow ones are humongous. Not for this. Yeah, I think it's going to be using these red ones to do that. That might end up being the easiest route for this. LEDs are just not as common. Up to 36 volt. Okay. Outdoor ones. Yeah, most everything you see if you look on AliExpress for anything, like all NeoPixels are either 5 or 12 volts. I've never seen any different. Again, maybe if I dig deep enough, you'll find them. So yeah, I think we're just going to split this here. So I need to get some more wire, which I always keep around. I guess I'll have to use this one. It's a different color code though. I don't know if I want to redo it. So I always keep around old extension cords, or not extension cords, but these are like the power cords, like your computer and stuff like that. They come with every printer, and I have like just tons of them. So I end up just reusing some of this wire in order to do that. I just cut off the extra insulation and do it. I could leave the insulation on these. That might be a little bit better, but I just need to run a short snip off of that. I guess I could go ahead and redo this. Greg, is it Friday, really? Yes, sir, it is Friday. I know we're all having a very hard time tracking things right now. I know I especially am. So I don't know if I can get the back of this off, which is why I'm debating on cutting it. What to do, what to do, what to do. The hole at the bottom is big enough, I guess. Barely. I guess we'll try to take it off. Let's take a look inside. Yeah, look. That's too big. I wonder if these are going to strip. So I really do like this this power socket. I might end up using a different one though in my final build, or maybe modify this one. Because I'm putting the paneling on here on the outside of this socket is going to be recessed inside of that. And I'm not a huge fan of that. Cosmetically, again, this is not an art piece, but if I'm going to put the time into building something crazy like this, you want it to look good. I mean, that's why people don't like cheap out on like rail cores, because, I mean, it kind of is an art piece at one point. These are cool. Use the electric one, I think, in order to get this done a little easier. It's Friday. Well, if you are in Australia, it's Saturday. So if you're Angus, then yes, it is Saturday for you. Or I guess really Europe, right? Saturday in Europe. Man, these are tough to get out. I put these in before I'd put in this we put in this plastic backing for mounting all the electronics. Man. get out the good old, what size is this? So it's 1.5? No, 2 mil. Let's just get out the Allen wrenches. I think this is 2 mil. This should fit, right? Barely. Yeah, I think we're just going to splice it because I don't feel like doing all this work, especially I'm just going to redo it later with a different power socket, which I think we're going the same place, but yeah, I think it's just going to be a waste of time to try to get to this right now. So we're just going to cut it, splice it in, and move along. Because I really want to get like some good burn-in testing going. I mean, I've done several prints. If you guys can't tell, there's a humongous vase right there. And so I have started some, preliminary testing on this, but it's not fully complete yet. And I don't want to do much of that before it's like fully complete. So we're just going to splice into it. Okay, it's 2 a.m. for Wolfgang. All right. Put the wow stick away and blue is line on these. So we're just going to snip right about there. Power's off before I did any of that. So yeah, just be careful what you're doing if you're not like familiar with electronics or if you're not familiar with power. Please be careful. That's all I really ask. I'm always afraid to give people like electrical guidance because I'm not an electrician. I don't want to like get in trouble for someone doing something they shouldn't have. Oh, fan finally turned on, thank goodness. Golly, it's already hot in here. So I don't need very much of this. We're just gonna go right about here. That. Yeah, I know. Burning in, yes, is Maker Geek's filament. I'm glad someone noticed it. Well, Greg, this is not cable managed at all yet. Like literally, I have spent the only thing I've actually cable managed coming down the side, which you can't really see here, is the LED. I did cable manage some of that. It's all cable managed up here in the top trays as well to be out of the way, but we are far from where it is going to be in the future. And cable management as well for me is just that so that it's out of the way really, so that you can easily work and you're not obstructing airflow. Again, this is not a piece of art. This is not going into a showroom, so it doesn't need to be that perfect. It just needs to be acceptable by me. It was way too short. These ones. All right, so that should be long enough for us there. So we're going to need to do some finagling here. These are going to be long enough to be able to do it properly. Oh, I need my crimpers. Where are you at? I've never used these actually in application before. I mean, I've used them at work, but like I've never used it personally before. So I guess we're going to kind of see how this goes. So one end. that hold. Yep, tug test works. Put ground in the other end. Slips right out. Just a little bit too. Try a different one here. Try that one more time. I could use these disconnects. These might work out a little bit better. Again, not their intended use, but they are smaller for the smaller gauge wire. I'm in the way, I know. Apologies. Nope. All right, we're gonna have to solder it. The wire is just too small to singly fit in these, which is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, 120 does tickle. I learned a lot. My dad was an electrician. He's retired now. Pretty much everything I know is from him. And yeah, he has taught me quite a bit about power. And then I do quite a bit of power for work as well. And yeah, I mean 120 bites, 240 reading rates. That'll really set you back a step or two. Okay, well, while we wait for the soldering iron to heat up here, I'm going to get some water on the sponge. I think one day I'll get one of those fancy little nests. Ooh. Dripping water everywhere. All right. Let's at least get some of the spades out. 1, 2, 3. For now, I get the rest down here. Oh, who's pegging me? Probably the wife. No. Mother. We'll just these on net. Where the crimpers go? There they are. Two, 3. Those ready to go. We need heat shrink. Some heat shrink tubing here. This is too big. We get a little bit smaller here. Where's heat shrink tubing? Right here. This is good. Don't stick your tongue in a breaker box. That is very good advice. Three of equal size. About there. I need some solder. And we'll get this going here. sides tinned. This side together here, tin this side. We'll be able to join everything together with relative ease. Fan blowing directly at me, so let's move these down quite a bit fast. Okay. Oh, need to tin this side too here. These guys. Oh, Aaron, are you building that Death Stranding lamp, dude? Because that thing is so cool looking. Love to build them, but I literally have nowhere to put it. Unless I give my wife a new nightlight. Because that one that I did, the one like Evan and Caitlin, that one is the nightlight in our room right now. That wooden one that I made. So I just don't have anywhere to put it. Where's my helping hand? There it is. Yeah. It's getting hot. There we go. Fire this up. And I don't have my lighter because we had a birthday party the other night. My daughter turned 2 last week, so we had a birthday thing for her. I'm looking forward to seeing that, Aaron. See, that you should put on your geared channel, man. So blue is line. Okay. Bring tubing down these first. This one, this, something like that. This is getting a little complicated here. Good deal. All right, last one. Brown. Big tubing. Two do not want to stick together. Lay ouch. There. Keep that in like that. A little more solder in that one. It came apart, of course. Ouch, ouch. There we go. All right. This put on here. Come on. Before it starts to shrink. No. There we go. All right, let me get my, oh, I guess I can use this real quick. Solder tip on it real quick. I don't feel like getting out the heat gun. So, all right, I'm going to turn this off and put it out of the way for now. Don't know if we're going to need it again. Need to see how to get these off without breaking the panels. These are just not super glued. These are hot glued on because I figured the hot glue would be easy enough to get off, but I'm kind of using like legit hot glue. So I'm going to break the panel trying to get these off. Try not to put too much on. Yeah. Still didn't put too much on yet. There's this giant blob here. I really did try. I want to make sure it's stuck. I want it to fall off. The handle will actually be screwed in. Again, this is just some acrylic pieces that I found laying around. Whoops. That's probably see better now without the spool on there. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now that's off. There we go. Put that back. Well, none of it's stuck on the part, which is cool. But yeah, so what do you do now? You need to pull that off here. And here. Our output on this side, just a wee flathead. Like that. So I guess I could technically screw that on. Maybe I should. It's just 2 screws on the back here. I believe they're M4s. Let's see, I got M4s in my little side dish. Oh, they are M3s. I can go in there. I'm gonna put it, I guess, right about there. Makes the most sense. So let's do some quick drilling. There and there. So I'm gonna get out my battery. We need the drill. I need a 3.5mm drill bit. 3.5. And is the bed out of the way? Pull this down a little bit more. Can you go down a little bit more? Maybe? Yeah, you can. Oh, you're bottomed out there. Upside down drilling, yay! So this is super thin acrylic. I think this is 1/8 inch, or yeah, I think this is eighth inch, or pretty much. So just gotta take it nice and slow. Need to get some 2 shorter M3s. How deep do these holes go? That's the question. Not that deep. Here should work just fine. 1 and 2. Just here. Nice thing about this being clear is that it makes drilling these holes and lining everything up super easy. But I can see everything. When this is black and I can't see through any of it, I'm gonna have to get pretty particular with my measuring and drawing capabilities. We got 1 and 2. Power supplies mounted. Easy day. Too easy, guys. Let's put things back. I am trying my best to stay organized. I was watching, I don't know if you guys watched the Winter Garden Wednesdays, the guy making the Marble Machine X. He did a good video a couple months ago on staying organized. And like when you do a project, you put everything away. And I'm really trying to do that. It's just really hard to do. This thing keep turning off. Driving me crazy here. It's hot. Please blow cool air on me. There we go. Okay, so I just have to take these to there. These will go on. I'm gonna leave these ferrules on. It's better than really anything on there. I just need to hook these up. So lines black. Full ground. To there. Neutral here. Get ground right there. Way up and in. That. Okay. Now we've got power coming from here to both power supplies. Easy day. And then we've got, let's loosen up. Whoop. A negative lead. Positive. Hook our LEDs in. Again, I might change these up later with other connectors. I don't know. I also thought about putting a bus in for the wiring, like to run positive and negative buses. I've seen other people do it, and the bus just allows you more connections. And this stuff is low amperage enough, especially the fans. Like the highest amperage is going to be these LEDs, is really the highest amperage piece here. The rest of it is very low amperage, so it doesn't really need a whole lot. So I'm going to take off for this fan here, which even with the jumper, I don't know if it's long enough. I'm gonna need the soldering iron again. Let's turn that back on. So that one there too. So take off both of these, positive and negative. And yeah, so again, here's the connection for the fan. If I take it underneath all of this, it is like just long enough to do. And this is also very temporary because it's a 3-pin fan going to a 2-pin adapter, going to a DuPont adapter, going to this thing. So eventually I'm going to I don't want to trash the fan because who knows, I might not leave this fan here forever. I don't want to trash it, so I like to leave the connectors on there. Maybe I'll just snip off this DuPont and extend the cables then all the way out. We're just going to snip this at here and then strip away a little bit. I don't think this one. I'll have to run new cables to these because they're jumpered off of this guy up here. So I'm gonna get you off. Simply like that. This one, the hot glue stayed on the part. So while working on this, if you guys have any questions on what I'm doing or decisions I've made for this, please go ahead and ask them. Or if any other generic questions, don't be shy. Feel free to ask. I'm going to have to run a connector to the suckers. This fan already has an extension on it. And it is long enough to just kind of sort of maybe make it there. But not really. So again, this kind of makes me debate on what I want to do. So I have positive and negative here. So these are for the LEDs. So all the LEDs come in, they're all running in parallel. So they're getting equal output from the mains, which are these two right here. These two thicker gauge are providing the power for both positive and negative parallel to 4 different LED sets. And there are 3 LED strips in each set. And that's what all of these purple and orange cables are because I don't have all black and red for everything. But I know my coloring scheme here, which is fine. So I'm wondering if I should use another one of these for some of the outputs of this. I wish I had a bigger bus bar, but these quick connects is really all I have. And it would make hooking this up slightly easier because I could just cut some thicker gauge wire going up to those and call it a day. And I've got lots of those. But I also have some of these double, which are positive and negative. So positive on one side, negative on the other side. I could use, because I need this fan, I need this, and I need this fan. So I could run this one for all 3 of those. Maybe we'll do that. I need to get out I can just steal this one. I have this wire here that I used. I can steal this wire. Recycle, kids. I reuse all the little bits and bobs to get from printers. No. All right. So let's take off those. Strip these down a little bit. 1 and 2. Twist them up. We're going to leave the spades on there to connect. We'll just negative into blue, positive into red. And there we have our connection. So we've got negative on one side, have 3 connections and 3 positives on it as well. So those extrusion joints, the triangle corners, 3D printed as though PDG or ABS. Which corners do you mean? I don't know what corners you mean. This is all metal. This is metal. These are metal on the side. The whole frame is 100% metal. There's no printing on it. So we've got, how far up can I take this thing? Not too far. That's okay. We can put it over there. I think it'll still work out over there. Sort of, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe this wire is not long enough that I want to reuse. So I wanted to take it up to here. It's not long enough then. Okay. Which is totes fine. I have more that I can steal. This is like literally just as long. A little bit longer. Won't really get me where I want to go though. Put that back. Nope, that's not going to be long enough. Where's my extra silicone wire? Right here. So I'm going to put this away because again, I keep everything. And I'll use some of this stuff here. This is a very flexible silicone wire. Is really good for this. Put some ends on it. Let's use some blue ones. I'm running out of red. This wire is thick enough that I can use glue on it. There. Just like that. Derek, hey! Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it for my DIY 3D printer fund, which is pretty much all I'm doing nowadays. And that's be long enough. We'll just make it a little bit longer than it needs to be. Always like to have a little bit of spare. Slacken the cable for now. We can always trim it down once we get to final dimensions for this stuff. One in. So nice and secure. Now we're good to go on this. Misplaced bars. I will misplace things tonight. Trust me. You guys are going to watch the stream for a little while. I'm going to forget where something is. You're going to be screaming at the screen. Shane, it's right there in front of you, you freaking idiot. That happens quite a bit. But this. Also, the nice thing about doing this is, yes, I only have 3 connections currently that need 12 volt, but I can always switch to one of these guys, which give me more connections to it instead. So this one's 5. So it gives me 2 more connections basically for positive or negative, which is what I have up here currently because I have 4 LEDs plus the power coming in. So I'm using 5 of, I'm using 5 of 5. And I'm only getting 3 here. So I am getting 1 extra connection. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, because I'm using 1 for the input for everything. But it's fine. These were dirt cheap, honestly. They're all rated up to what did it say on these were for? Some of them are labeled, some of them are not. But I believe it was like, yeah, these are rated up to 32 amps. So I'm getting nowhere near that type of amperage with anything in this printer. Even the power supply is not pulling 32 amps. So this is definitely going to be a good one. So I'm going to plan on putting this right here above this power supply for now. So what we need to do is figure out how I'm going to do this. If I cut both of these off, one to the side as well. Okay. So I have this guy here, which we'll take up, around, and underneath all of this. Here. We'll put positive in here. Missed it. Just again. Try to go in your home. There we go. Now we're chomped in there for this fan. Now let's cut the connector off of this one here. So off a little bit of slack. This is for the hot end fan, 12 volt hot end fan. So again, this will run all the time. As long as the printer is online, this fan is running. And for now, I'm okay with it because it is so super quiet. But if I do end up changing it to a 24 volt fan, I'll put it into E1 so that it turns on with that. And then we've got this guy right here, which these leads are really short. I'm going to replace the red lead, I think, with the new one. Black's already long enough. So let's pull that off. Let's get out this connector. I also save all my connectors. I'd say I'm the tap rat of 3D printing. But if you build as many custom machines as I do, it's really, really worth it to save all the bits and bobs. Because you never really know when you're going to need it. And I've needed most everything that I've ever kept from these printers. So we'll go ahead and there. Do negative into here. Okay. And then we're going to get a new positive for that one. I think the browns are going to come out with it. Nope. Okay. Get rid of that. Now let's just cut length of this one here. This is all just this is all 22 gauge or 20 gauge. Holy crap, that's small. 300 volt. Either way, it's small stuff, but it's plenty for this super duper low amperage application that we're doing here for these parts. I think eventually I'm going to put DuPonts on stuff going like the optocoupler and whatnot. Just again, it kind of makes for really secure connections because you want to ensure that all of your power connections are absolutely absolute. You don't want those really coming loose, and that gray one wasn't in there. Because anytime you have any type of play in your power connections, that creates resistance, which is why you see people, you know, have printer fires. Is 99.9% of the time it's a wiring problem. They did not have their connections securely in there. just brutal. Come on. Doing this vertically is not easy. And you do the tug test. Yep, we are good to go. Bring this around here. And then we got our final positive connection right there. So there we have all of our 12-volt connections for optocoupler and the 2 fans right here, which I can now hot glue right there. Get the hot glue gun out and get that warming up now. The world's greatest hot glue gun is armed and heating now. On there. If you do buy this glue gun, it gets stupid hot, so be careful. I still have a scar here from that sucker a couple months ago. Yeah, we're just going to tack that in right there just to be, again, here out of the way. It'll work out well. And then, well, I guess we should probably make sure this thing does let out the magic blue smoke now that we did all of this. So hold on to your butts. But this other fan is not running. The optocoupler is also not working. Let's see what went wrong here. Here's the fan connection. Something down on the rubber and not the, yeah. They're crimping down on the rubber and not the wire, because it's such small gauge wire, so optocoupler is still not good. There it is. Yep, I had this all just a little too deep. You can see that lights up. Now we're good to go. Got fan to that. Pull this off. I did make this Y splitter a while back just in case I needed it, but hey, yeah. So just, again, small cables. I just put them too deep into the connector there. David asked what type of connector is that. Somebody said these are what, these are the, starts with W. What is it called again? Wagos, something like that. But they're just like quick disconnects for power, basically. I guess you can use it for signal, but it's for power. So this only pulls 1 point or 2 amps from here. I believe it's a 15 amp fuse in there. Even with all of this running, I'm still not getting up to that 15 amps because this is a 30 amp and then this is the 8 amp. So obviously this is rated less than these because you want this to trip before these do. So if it ends up being enough, I can always do more, but it should be a 15 amp socket for this. I did go a little bit higher. Normally I only use 10 amps. So who's asking if I'm trolling with the filament? I still have a couple spools of Maker Geeks filament I have to use up. I mean, and what better way to use it up than on a big nozzle with a printer? I mean, it still prints. Let me show you guys. So I did this. This actually is holding all of my test prints right now. So this is a max size vase using this super old Crystal Series PLA from Maker's Geek who went down years ago. And yeah, there's a few spots of under extrusion in there, but overall, I mean, it's good enough for testing. Like, I really don't care about this filament at all, but it is good enough for me to ensure that I'm getting consistent extrusion out of this. All my movement, I'm not getting any layer shifts, which is the big thing. I want to ensure that the machine is working properly. And since it's a 0.6 millimeter nozzle, under extrusions don't really happen with a larger nozzle because you're pushing the filament so fast, you end up filling any inconsistencies. If you're using a 0.4 or smaller size nozzle, you're going to see those inconsistencies very, very quickly because the filament just isn't there for that tiny, tiny nozzle. So, but yeah, it does work really well. And again, this is full of test prints and parts, oh, excuse me, that I've been doing on this printer. So not entirely trolling you guys. John, you and like anybody who's been 3D printing since like 2017 is gonna have several spools of Maker Geeks around because we all were dumb and bought into like the monthly subscription where you get 2 spools. Sometimes they throw 3 spools at you. And yeah, we all have a ton of this laying around. I think I know I have a roll of TPU left, which actually is really good from them. I still have some of the black left. I might have, this was from their Christmas pack. So it was green, yellow, and this red. I think I still have the green and yellow left. Might be down in one of the bins now. I thought it was over here on the shelf. I still might have that. And that was from Christmas of 2017. So I've had this for a while. Thanks, Ben. I am, if anybody knows me, I am very much not wasteful at all when it comes to filaments and other things. So let me turn this off because I put this under the wire here. So like that, and then that again. I eventually am going to redo these connectors. So right now, if you guys see all of the wires, so this printer is a kit, a very bare bones kit. It doesn't, but it comes with an SKR, but all the motors have duet connectors on them, so they don't actually connect into there. So I have made all these jumpers for all these. Eventually, I'm going to cut and extend these, run the cables properly hidden, and then get them in here with proper connectors. I did have to redo the X and Y because they were just a little bit loose and I was getting issues in homing and whatnot, but I have since then solved that problem and we've moved on. So that is the very simple installation of the 12-volt power supply right here that Jim hooked me up with. Justin 3D. Yep, you were one of us. One of us, one of us. We can start a chant here. But again, most anybody who's been 3D printing for years is going to have that stuff around. If you're new to 3D printing, they are a company that went under because they had horrible customer service and their filament was fine at first, but then it took a really turn for the worst and had a ton of under extrusions and over extrusions, things like that. So okay, so what else can we do? Oh, I did also get in. So everyone is recommending these suckers. So these are those thermal, what are they called? I don't know. These little guys. So they're supposed to put this on the bed. And I got these ones are rated for 140C, 250 volt, 10 amps. What there are, you get this huge pack of 50 for like, I don't know, $3 on Amazon. Like I wanted one, but I had to buy a pack of 50 because that's all you can get. So I don't know if I'm actually going to use these or not. I have not used it anywhere else. I'm really not that worried about it because I am confident in my abilities to wire everything properly. I truly am, but I just don't know how I'm going to end up doing that or what I'll do. So I still also need to figure out, hello subscriber. I still need to figure out the end-all placement of all the electronics. I'm debating on turning the power supply this way. The only thing with that is going to block this. I'm debating on moving the fan lower because eventually there's these grill plates right here. See, I don't have them all printed yet. I still haven't done that. And I need to reprint this one because it came out like crap. But this same type of thing goes at the bottom here. So all these cables that are coming underneath will all be actually sitting in that tray for the most part and keeping anything from getting out of the printer. So it's actually a very safe design, keeping everything enclosed and keeping this electronic compartment completely enclosed as well. I might move the fan down here just so it has a closer way to get at that fresh air coming up, and it'll still blow plenty of air up onto my stepper drivers and the power supply. So everything will still get good fresh air. Or I might actually try and see if I can find some other fans, some more of these 80 millimeter 12 volt fans, and put a few at the bottom, because you see this power supply is fanless. So I do need to ensure there is some type of air movement across this 12 volt fan, where this one is self-cooling, which is good. So, Jim, yes, I've been having PerviBox for a while now as well. I am definitely behind on reviewing those boxes either, so. Oh, Justin, you got some rat gunk in there too. I never knew that, man. Shoemaker Geeks. Yeah, again, a lot of people have it, so. I did buy their monthly stuff. I don't know why I did, but I did. So overall, again, I'm pretty happy with how it's all turning out. I did get the bed cable sleeve. I did print some stuff for the bed cable, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to end up doing it. I've seen some people have it loop up and kind of sit up here and then duck down in. I don't know if I want to go that route, but my cable is very long. I mean, you can see from the bed, I still have a ton of leftover here. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. But that was a pretty painless installation, I must say. I'm a little shocked. But I thought this LED was supposed to be off and only on when it triggers. So we might do a quick test of that. I think, do I have any other test prints in here for you guys? I don't think so. You guys have seen the benchies. Oh, I do have some actually. I did the Volron test cube on here. So again, using some pretty fairly cheap filament. This is the Just 3D or Go 3D print. So this is the Volron text cube. So you see there's a little bit of under extrusions here and there in the filament. I'm kind of blaming the filament for that. There's the logo on Y, that impression as well. Another indent there. We've got the circle on the top, and then it has a bar that goes across the middle, and you can see the bridging in there is pretty good. I'm gonna see there's very little strings coming off of that. Can't get the light in there just right. Sorry. But yeah, so it does that block across the bottom there and has this hole again there and this hole in the top. So yeah, it's pretty good. And then the dimensions, I believe it's supposed to be 40 all around. Zero that. Where's it? 45 for this one. Yeah, so I'm at 45.09 there. That's on X. On Y, I am 45.14 there. And then on Z, I am 44.71. So obviously that the Z is a little more off. X and Y are pretty good. I'd call that good. Yeah, 44.6, 44.7. So a little under on Z, but I'm not going to call that a failure. I think it's quite okay. But yeah, that was their little test cube that came out. And then I did do this bedsheet. I'm still working on retraction. You can see a little fuzzy there. Need to just get that a little bit more tuned in. I think that's really it. I think it was just that filament because I did this bench. Is this the first one I did or is this the second one I did? Oh yeah, these are the early ones. I did this one with a different filament. As you can see, very, very minimal stringing on there. It actually turned out really good. Retractions, you can see are in there. You can't feel that, but you can definitely see the retractions. So that's not really that good yet. Need to get there, but no ghosting in it at all. It bridges very well on everything. Good first layer down, so not too bad. And obviously I showed you the vase, which again is really good. So this is, I think this is 5 or 10 millimeters shy of max. I just wanted to pay a little bit on the safe side with that one, just to ensure I didn't crash anything. But yeah, it's coming along pretty good. But yeah, that power was, I definitely wanted to get this sorted so that I didn't have so many little of the connector, all these other little bits and bobs in there. So it's a little more centralized. This is pretty common for what most people are doing in these like great big printers, the big 4XYs. They're running 2 power supplies because it's easy to run 24 volt for the main power. Everything runs better at 24 volts. Then they're either running a 24 volt bed, which I am, a 24 volt silicone heater, or they are running an AC heated bed, which I don't like that personally. And then they're running a 12 volt power supply. I have seen a few people who are running 5 volts for the LEDs because I believe the NeoPixels for the front are 5 volts. So I will inevitably have to install one of these again, 5 volts for the NeoPixels, which I'll run down this side since I have a bunch of the main LED power comes down this side. I'll run the NeoPixels around this way to pipe those in. I still have no idea how I'm going to get those to run at all, literally at all. So that is still going to be a really large learning curve for me and something I need to do a lot of research to just figure out what in the world I need to do to make those work. So the SKR 1.3 does not have a NeoPixel output. The SKR 1.4 does. So I'm a little torn on what to do because I have a 1.4 in the Bear. I could put this 1.3 in the Bear, put the 1.4 in here and have access to those NeoPixels, but I still don't know how to make any of that work with the round NeoPixels. Let me pull those out. For anybody who has not seen these, oh, I can turn this off now. I don't need that on right now. Let's see here. Here they are. I opened one, didn't I? Yeah, here's one. It's open. So it's for these NeoPixel rings, which fit in the front, and these are, yeah, 5 volt DC coming into these. So I want to get these to work in the front, but I have no idea how to do it. So gonna have to, I don't know if I want them to just be actual mean something or what. I mean, I know the Duet has the ability to do more with these. I just really don't know if I'm gonna get it to work or not the way I want it to. I have also had people tell me that I should go ahead and put a Duet clone in this, which is another 50 bucks. So I don't know, maybe if everybody donates $1, I'll do it and put a Duet in here instead. And the Duets have a much easier time to talk to these along with the Arduino to go with it. But again, I'm just torn on exactly what I want to do. Oh, I did finish these. I just haven't wired anything yet. They're a little stringy. I did finish the front LED parts. So let me turn this around. Let's turn this off. See if I can turn this thing around without dropping it. This thing is heavy, guys. Like, if you're ever getting into big printers, there's so much extrusion in here. This thing weighs literally probably 40 pounds. I'd say maybe 30. Maybe it's just it's so awkward it feels heavier, but it's a good 30 to 40 pounds of just extrusion alone. Zoom out a little bit more. So I have these LEDs here. Let me power it on. You guys can see the whole shebang. Let's actually make sure the LEDs still work. That was one thing I did not test, which is this button right here. Ta-da! It is a ton of light, and if I turn down exposure here a little bit, it actually gives a great lighting on the actual print. Computer, turn off the office. Like, it really does a great job of showing off the print. I think having time lapse of this will be great. Now I'm going to have these LEDs, I think, on a separate switch, and they mount right here to the front extrusion. Computer, turn on the office. So these will turn that off, you got it blown out there. There we go. So these mount to the front here, and they have their own diffusers as well that slide onto them. And this will light at an angle, the front of the object, having these both come in at angles. And I think that will look really good as well. I can do them from the back, I think. But I think they just mount here on the front, like so. But I may end up modifying these, even though I already printed them, to fit back here a little bit. I could drill them a little bit. But either way, because that way I can still put a front panel on here if they're this way. But this will give me a nice front view of light. So if I set a camera up right here and I'm doing some nice time lapses, I mean, honestly, it's going to look so freaking good with this light setup. I'm really excited about it. So I was worried it was going to be a little bit too bright, but I think it's just enough because in the absolute dark, it looks great. It really, really does. Let's see, where are we going here? So, remember correctly, uses a separate Arduino controller, connects via serial to the printer. Yes, it does connect via an Arduino gunner, but I am not good with that stuff. So, yeah, let's make sure this thing actually still homes. I've been changing everything. Yeah, no. There it goes. Yeah, I'm still having issues with the yeah. So I am still trying to figure out the sensorless homing. I don't know if I think it's having trouble homing because in the corners, a little bit more, you have zoomed all the way. So in these corners, there are some corner brackets, and the MGN rails under here, they kind of like, these prints kind of like cup the slider, and they hit on that angle. So they're not hitting like a solid flat piece. So I'm kind of tempted to maybe modify something and put up in there maybe to give it that nice solid flat connection to do the sensorless homing, or if I should just put switches in. Really don't want to do that. Don't want to use switches. I like sensorless homing, but I'm just unsure. Let's make sure this thing actually is going to home once it triggers. Let's hope. Yeah, it did. Sweet. Now we can do motion, and we can do the auto Z line is probably one of the coolest things in Marlin. When you have dual Z steppers, it just is so amazing to do. So I also need to adjust voltage every time when I do some of this stuff because it just doesn't, it's not saving everything the way it should. EMC drivers, driver current. So right now it's at 800, which is what it should be. Sensorless homing is at 80. So that stuff did save. But I'm still getting a weird vibration across, which I don't like. Because when it does move linearly, it does that. Yeah, and I'm thinking I might need to just give more voltage to these motors than what I'm used to giving. I mean, right now we're at 800 for both. I might need to step that up to 850, 900 just to ensure that they're getting the proper voltage that they need to work. And now we're in our final home position, and The Z is now aligned and we're ready for the first print, except this thing is dusty because it's been sitting down there for 3 weeks. uh, So Jim, I don't need a case for it because this entire back is going to be enclosed as one big thing. So I don't really want to, I don't want to put anything extra in there. I might end up just throwing a fan on there, maybe a 12-volt fan directly hooked up to it. Just one of the nice quiet ones, just so it gets the proper airflow. I always worry about airflow, but like I said, this 12-volt fan here is on and running, and it's very, very quiet. I'm pretty happy with it. And then with the bed all the way up and the lights, there are 2 LEDs that go down at an angle and 1 strip that goes straight across. So you're getting side light all the time, which is really nice. I do like that. Oopsie, still not a sponsor. Yeah, that's really what I had planned for today. I don't really feel like wiring LEDs tonight. It is really hot in here right now, and I am sweating like crazy. So I don't really feel like doing it. But down here, you can see where those ring LEDs are going to go in here. So if you guys have any resources on programming up an SKR with an Arduino to do the NeoPixels, please let me know. If you have any resources, there's like that one article that I keep finding online. Excuse me. It's by, I think I have it open here, don't I? Yeah, here it is. It's by the Make and Print UK, Make and Vape. He has one. It's the 1.3 with NeoPixels and a BL Touch, and he has them hooked up to. Oh, will they have it hooked up here? And he had to redo some pinouts for it. It's hooking up to one of the. He's using one of the end stops to control NeoPixels. So, and again, this is for like one set of NeoPixels, but I want to control 3 separate ones. So that's just kind of like the confusing thing is I don't really know how that will work out. So I was asking, so how did I pick the BLV versus the Railcore or Jubilee? Now, I've never heard of the Jubilee, so there, that leaves that one out right there. The Railcore, I have not heard great things about it. I heard it is a money suck. I'm sure that Steven, if he's here, he will greatly disagree with me because Steven loves his Railcore, but he works on it all the time. I know it took him a while to get it running. That's Lightning Speed or Speed Lightning. I think he goes by on Twitter and whatnot, and here I guess. But there are a lot of people that really like it. They're also just huge money sucks. I haven't seen one south of like $1,600, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a printer, especially because this I'm relying on basically crowdfunding. You know, Patreon, the YouTube donations, the affiliate link usage, and all that stuff. I rely on all of that to build these printers. And yeah, I can't drop $1,600 on a printer. So, and I was just interested. So also this one does not have, this one doesn't have much about it. Like I've seen Ben's videos and a few videos on the web about this, but there's not a whole lot documenting building one of these. And I kind of really wanted to be that other person to actually document it. Now I'm looking at this, I'm just reminding myself of the different parts that I need to print and reprint. Like I need to reprint this middle section right here because it's misaligned. I need to print those other back parts. I need to draw out that PETG again so I can finish printing the parts for this. So maybe I'll spend some time and do that and finish getting it fully printed and going. But I liked this design. The frame I liked way more than the Railcore frame. I will say that. It just also looked more appealing to me, and it looked like it'd be a funner project. So, The Railcore is a good tinker machine. Yep. And yes, this is fully open source printer, which I also really like. Is the Railcore open source or not? But yeah, everything seems to be working well on this. Again, I did the custom bed a few weeks ago, which is the 24-volt silicone heater, a 6 millimeter thick piece of tooling aluminum. So it's a tooling plate that you would use for other things. So it is a 1000% super flat on both sides. Then a magnetic pad and a custom 342 by 342 double-sided flex sheet. So this side is PEI, the bottom is powder coated PEI. Oh, just the I was saying, so these are for the NeoPixels, which again I want to do, but I'm kind of debating on either redesigning or redoing it. So there's another version that I just need to reprint these two panels where they just have two LEDs going through. And if I can figure out how to get NeoPixels to work where they could just have like kind of like a Knight Rider thing going across, that might be a cool look to it because I changed out this to be from honeycomb to the lines. And maybe to kind of fit the aspect of the lines, redo this to have two spots go across with NeoPixels behind them and figure out how to get that to work. I really don't know. So yeah. I mean, again, I bought the NeoPixels to do it because I wanted to build this as Ben designed it, with the caveat of I do not want to put a duet in here because it's not what came with the kit. I'm basing this off of the kit I got off AliExpress, which Ben commissioned with C Labs. Is that what they're called? Sealand. Um, that's who he commissioned this kit with. So I kind of really wanted to see how it worked out the way that he said it to go. And this is their cheaper kit because this was only with shipping, I think 600. But then I added a bunch of stuff that took the price up. So um, yeah. But I've been designing a lot. Again, I designed this. I designed the LED, this mount. I still have not published this. I redesigned these holders. I've redesigned a bunch of these parts as well. I designed the cable holder up top here that has now seemed to work its way down. It was supposed to be in there. I need to just redo that. But yeah, I also redesigned this front piece here because he had like screws. He had a screw here and then screw there. No, I just have, so the fan is behind this. This holds two screws on here. You can pop this off without a problem. Pull this whole top piece off. It's very modular. You can definitely change a whole lot about this. Yeah, tool changes are crazy. Is it a program for the print? It Justin, it can be, I think. I'd have to let me look it up here real quick. So pull this up here, move it over to here. Let's go to here. So this is the one article I found for SKR 1.3, NeoPixels, and a BL Touch. Obviously, BL Touch I don't need because I'm using a different one, but the way he's doing NeoPixel is another way. So the way that, yeah, so here's a light kit and a full kit that he has commissioned now. So the light kit is from Blue Rose. 498 plus 130 shipping. It's still been that way because it's a lot of extrusion. And then the big kit, you can change your size. You can get this really tall. Still a lot for shipping, but this is supposed to have higher end things. I believe this one also does come with an S. Yeah, this one does come with the Duet. This one comes with the SKR 1.3. So again, a little bit different here and there, but mostly it's the same printer. It really is. But for the, you see if I can find the wiring diagram that he has for the LEDs. It's in here somewhere. This is just print orientation. Hat? Oh, where's that? Oh, here it is right here. So here it is. So this is the NeoPixel add-on. So it's, what? Oh my God. My cat is stuck in the web or something. I don't know. But either way, it's the power supply goes down to a down converter, connecting to the Duet Wi-Fi 2, going to Arduino Pro, and then going to each of the NeoPixels. So I don't know if I can do this same thing and somehow connect it to the SKR. So yeah, here's the Arduino. So John, if you've got any way to help me figure out how to do this, I would love to hear from anybody. Hang on, I gotta help the cat. Crisis averted. Um, See, Gunner, I don't know how to do that. I don't understand what that means. So it's a ground and the signal pin. I mean, I'm just not sure what to do for that. But he does have codes somewhere for this, I think. Um, yeah, so here's this code here for it. I don't know yet, John. I kind of need to look through this code here and see all what it does because there's the three of them. So they each do something. So there's the temperature of the hot end on NeoPixel 1, the printer status combined with printer progress on 2 or on 3, and then the temperature of the heated bed and temperature of heater 1 on NeoPixels. What's the second one? Oh, temperature of heater 3. So I guess like chamber. But it'd be cool to have like one be like print progress. So like as it went and lit up more, that it would say the printer. To have one be temperature somehow or other I don't know. One was print progress, obviously would be cool. But if you go to I have it linked down below, John, the BLV project. And if you scroll down to the wirings or the assembly videos and wiring, he has it in there for the down there. So you could see what's going on there. But again, I'm definitely open to if anybody has any suggestions what to do. I think I bought a Pro Mini. I think I have some here. Let's see, there's electronics. Right here. So I have, which one's a Pro Mini? I think this right here is the Pro Mini. Yeah, Pro Mini. So I do have a Pro Mini here to use for this. I just have to solder on the pins that I need and go from there. I think I have a second one somewhere too. But I do have it. I just, if anybody could lend a hand on that, we'd most appreciate it. And if you, down below, there's also a link for Discord. Please hop over there and chat with me on Discord. It's the best way to kind of get back and forth with people and work on how to do all of these. So yeah, bed temp, hot end temp, and progress. Yeah, so yeah, any help on that would be super duper cool. I like it. I'm also open for what anyone thinks to do about the homing issue. Crooked there. It's partial the issue of me dialing in those settings correctly. I think they're really close though, but I'm still getting jitter off of it because I don't think I'm getting that nice solid connection. And it feels solid enough, but it is at an angle, so there is some flex to it because these are printed in PETG. But this should be a solid hit here. Let's see, where are we knocking at? Yeah, I mean this is a solid connection there. So I think I just need to play with the settings a little bit more to be sure that I get it perfectly right. Maybe I'm just not there yet. I don't know. So I greatly appreciate it, John. You're awesome if you help me out with this, man. Where else are we at here? So yeah, I really think that's it for tonight. I mean, I got done what I wanted to get done, was able to go over some of the progress I'm at. I am definitely going to spend this weekend. I'm at work all day tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to get some of these parts queued up to print again, especially if it's looking promising that someone might be able to help out. Jim's asking sensitivity. I'm at 80 on both of them. And that's because if I go to 85, they don't trigger. It just triggers like, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm there. Like it doesn't even move really. So 80 seemed to be the sweeter spot, but kind of see what it is. Haste, no, this is using NeoPixel rings and controlling it through an Arduino connected to the SKR 1.3. So yes, it is sensorless homing. So again, I'm at 80 on both of them. Because if I change them here, I'll change them real quick. Let's move this a little bit here. Configuration. Oh no, where are we at here? Configuration. Where am I at? Come on. Configuration. Advanced. EMC. Homing. If I do these up to 85, they won't. I don't think it moves at all anymore. Motion. Auto home. Yeah, see, 85, they don't even move. So configuration, let's go down to 84. Of course, Y, I gotta have them both the same from what I'm told. Motion, auto home. So 84 homes, but still jumps. And it hits this one so hard it pulls it out a little bit. Now it is consistent, but disable this and then go back up here to auto home. You're gonna see it hit pretty hard on X. It does do it though. And see, that time Y didn't even go because it just wasn't there. The belts are not too tight. I mean, the belts are tensioned well. You see, this time it's homing. So I really don't want to give up on it, but I might just to have consistent homing. Maybe sensorless homing on a Core XY just isn't there yet. I don't know. Santa, I don't know what you're asking about. Going 12 volt. Keith, no, it's the SKR is running off of 24 volts. I don't know what our sense is, Jim. Again, I am not a firmware wizard by any stretch of the imagination. I rely on people like Keith and Jack who have helped out, and Kenneth in the Discord who are just my firmware gurus. If I have any firmware questions, I go to those guys because they just know what they're doing. But can I have the node MCU communicate with the SKR? Or the SKR communicate with the node to drive the LEDs? That's all 1,000% over my head. I have no idea how to program any of that, anything. So if someone knows how to program that stuff, I'm happy to test out, wire it up and test it and see how it goes, but I don't know how to do it. Only choice is one number for sensitivity homing. Yes, X and Y are the only sensitivity numbers that you can change. If I go down to, again, configuration, advanced, to TMC drivers, there's the stepping mode, which is the stealth chop on everything, and then sensorless homing, or the actual, the what's called the driver current and sensorless homing. X and Y is all you get. Our sense values relate to the resistors installed on your drivers. Okay. Gangsta, it really, sensorless homing is like when it senses resistance against it, it knows that it hit the end stop. And you need to get your sensorless homing number, whatever the value, close enough so that when it hits something, it's like, oh, this at this number, this means I have hit something, and that is your end stop. If it's too sensitive, it will just go like, and then stop. Like, it's like, oh, yep, I hit home because it's too sensitive. If it's not sensitive enough, you're going to see it like crashing just like it does on X here. It hits and hits and hits. I was like, oh, wait, this is the, excuse me. Oh, wait, this is the end stop. And then it finally stops and then does the other axis. So kind of simplified that way. You can play the homing current, but sensorless homing on Core XY is iffy. Of course it is, Keith. Of course it is. So does a driver current? Yes, it does. So the homing current on these is set to 450. So at half. And that's what works on every other printer I have. So I don't know if maybe I need to lower my homing current or raise my homing current. Because again, when I hit home, it changes. Or I think I actually might have set it to 800 now, which is why I might be getting a little more issues, but it was set to 450 and it just, we're still having issues. So again, maybe if I could go down like 300 and see if I have any issues that way. I don't know. So again, I'm also open for suggestions on that. Or again, if it just ends up being too much of a hassle, I will go ahead and install end stops. Really don't want to, but I can. Senseless homing is just, it's new, it's hot, it's sexy. Like senseless homing is where it's at. And that is the future of 3D printing. And I want to be that future. I want to be that cutting edge. But if it's going to give me so many problems on this, I don't feel like I'm the one that should be trying to push that boundary. There are plenty other smarter people out there dealing with firmware and Marlin that can push that envelope. I don't think I'm that person. So I really don't want to, but I might have to. And one would go here in the front corner, run the cable through the extrusion and down to the board. The other one mounts directly. There's actually a point here on the X carriage that you can mount the sensor to right there. Very simple to get to. I think I just need to take off my fan shroud here in order to screw that in. Cable runs up through the cable chain and down into the board as well. Balance between the homing current sensitivity. So maybe, Keith, what do you think? If I lower it down to like 300, again, 450 was still giving me issues. But if I go down to 300 or 400, like, should I lower it or should I raise it? Because obviously 800 is too high, which is what it's at right now. But if you give me a slight nod in which direction to go, I can start testing that way. It's very easy. I mean, I have it in the firmware. I just got to change 2 values, upload the firmware to it again, do the EEPROM reset, and then it should be good to go to try it. How does Prius do with the Mark III? I noticed it always hits twice for each axis. That's like a bump I think they have. I think that's what it is. Oh, Keith, you tell me that. Why can't you make it easy on me, brother? I think on the Prussias they do what's called the sensorless bump. So I will try playing with the homing VREF. Maybe I'll do that later tonight, or tomorrow night. We could do it tomorrow night. Let's do that. Let's play with sensorless homing for the Saturday night 3D printing hangout that I do every Saturday. If you guys want to come join in tomorrow night, let's play with firmware for this. Let's go ahead and try some different values and go from there. I think that'll be a good use of the stream. And then again, if I've got people, Jim, Keith, Jack, Kennedy, if any of you guys show up, that might help out, help me through that. We might be able to find the proper configuration for this. Yeah, bump is disabled because again, people like Keith have already warned me against having bump enabled. It is by default, I believe, in Marlin, but I haven't taken it off on here. Yeah, I think that's good for tonight. We made some progress. I definitely need to get some prints going. Don't know if I'll do that tonight. I probably should, but I'm probably gonna go lazy route and not do it tonight. Trying to think. It looks messy back here. I'd love to say it looks good, but it just looks messy. And for as big as this is, there's a lot to put in here. And it really does worry me a little bit on how I have some of this. Like I need to get some cable strain relief on the bed cables because it's kind of pulling on the thermistor connector. I don't like that. So I do need to figure out some type of something. I do have these parts printed. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not. So I have some for the bed that I didn't really like. This one here? No, this one here? No, it's this one right here. But yeah, I think I need to try these out with that other one and see how it goes. But I just need to get some strain relief on that bed cable, really. Using real end stops, disables. Oh yeah, okay. You usually do 3/4 standard. Okay, so maybe I'll try that. But let's do that tomorrow because I don't want to get into that tonight. And again, it is super hot in here. It's very, very humid here right now. It's getting ready to rain. It looked like rain all day today, and it did not. And the humidity is just super high. Even though I have a fan literally right here blowing on me, and I'm still dying. So I think that's it for tonight. But definitely come back tomorrow night for you guys. Let's do some firmware tomorrow night on this. Let's see if we can figure out that sweet spot for sensorless homing on this particular Core XY. And maybe if you were doing on your Core XY, this might help you figure it out while I try to figure it out. So we've got a lot of good people in the stream to help out with that. Let's see what happens. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys want to help support the project, there's lots of ways to get down below. Buy me a coffee, the Streamlabs tips, YouTube tips. You can become a patron. Patrons fund a lot of this. Also, direct donations from you guys have been buying things. Again, tonight was Jim hooking me up with the 12-volt power supply back here we installed. and really did help out with that. So I appreciate every single one of you that have done something to help me out with my projects. It is truly awesome, and I can do so much more with your all help. So I do appreciate that quite a bit. If you have to find me, there's other social media. There's also affiliate links down there. Check all that stuff out. That's it for tonight. I hope you all wash your hands. Happy printing. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'll work on some firmware. See ya.